Hey folks, Fwhip here, and welcome to another comment of the day video for episode 55. Yes, 55. That's it. Hardcore episode 50. Wow, we've survived a lot of episodes. But hi everybody, how we doing? Ignore the turtles. Don't look at the turtles. Let's go right into the first comment of the day. We are very far in this book. This one is coming in from WTF is this nonsense, and they're asking, who says you have to go big for your projects? I've always loved watching a starter home turn into a village, a town, and then a city, especially when it's on a server with other people and all the infrastructure being built and spreading out to other settlements and terraforming to go with it. It just makes it feel more alive than a world with a mega build that looks like it's in the middle of nowhere. So one, I think we don't have the same definition of what a Minecraft mega build is. I think there's two ways to think about it. There's one giant structure in the middle of nowhere, assuming it would be this tree without anything else like this around it. Or two, mega build is just a lot of buildings in the same area, which is how I think about it. I would consider this a mega base. I would consider the mountain and everything over there, like if that was standing on its own, that could be a mega base, but it's attached to that, brought down into the terrain and everything like that. The way I think you're interpreting mega bases would be more what you see on the traditional SMP series. Not saying it's a bad thing, just kind of saying what it is. If you go back to some of like the old like Hermitcraft bases where they just have like what Green built a giant thing that looked like a water cooler of sorts, like that, where it's just out there in the middle of the nowhere, not really attached into the terrain. There's two different ways to do it, and the way I do mega bases is I'm trying to tell a story in this world, and I like to go big and I like to build big things, and unfortunately the term mega base gets a lot of clicks on YouTube, so that's kind of why I use it here, even though my builds aren't the traditional mega base that you see a lot of other people creating. So I would say, yeah, going big for the sake of going big when you're just doing something like that is not a good thing to me, because at least it's not how I like to play the game. It's not necessarily a bad thing, it's just different ways of playing the game. And I like to tell this story and build an entire world. So you'll see a lot of my builds being brought together. Like I have the rule in this world of everything needs to be connected by a road. But anyways, back more focus on the comment itself. I just figured I'd throw that out there. And please, that's not me throwing shade on Grian at all. It's just the first example that popped into my head of something that kind of fit the criteria of standing out in the middle of nowhere, not really attached into the world, because it was literally sticking up out of the ocean. It's not throwing shade at all. Don't do it, comments. Don't do it. I know you're thinking about it. Don't do it. But regardless, YouTube in general actually really favors big, satisfying videos that tell the story about how a project was made, especially with social media shifting to short form content. Think Instagram Reels, TikToks, YouTube Shorts, all that type of stuff. Long form content has been forced into this really weird space where you need to maintain the same level of engagement as these new short form videos that are an entire video in 30 seconds, maybe a minute, or probably less. Which, when that got translated into how Minecrafty stuff works, it either means you have to go crazy on the effects that you're doing in your video, and that's just not me, or you just have to include more in your video, seeing as we built literally nine buildings, if you include that as one and the tower as one, 9 new buildings for our city for one video for episode 55. So you can kind of see like where that in itself goes into more things crammed into a little video. You can see that over the story of this entire hardcore world, seeing as every single video being on day 5,978 right now, and we're on episode 55. Every single video averages well over 100 days. But also, that's kind of just me. I love these videos where we throw all these things in here together. If I was making videos where I was just adding one and then adding one more, I honestly think I would get really bored. I like seeing the big change every single time I record a video and finish, and I'm like, yeah, heck yeah, I just did all of that. Look how fantastic it is. I think the last video where I made literally only one building was this guy, and that included getting every single one of the armor trims, so there was a lot going on with it. And then I also, on top of that, I believe built this gatehouse, the tower, and the wall coming all the way down. And that was me being like, ooh, I didn't really build that much in this video. I kind of want to add some more, but what else should I add? And then I was like, nope, no, it's fine. I spent like 30 hours getting the armor trims. It's okay. So it's definitely a thing that I put on myself of I want to build a lot of bigger builds and see them all coming together. And then it's also the addition of the algorithm very much favoring these more action-packed videos, as that's what viewers seem to be favoring nowadays, at least the general masses. I know there's a bunch of people who probably miss the really slow Let's Plays, but unfortunately, if you're doing that type of content nowadays, you're not really going to get that much growth. And that's sad because I want to keep doing this. And I also really like the big ones. So if anything, the algorithm shift towards needing to do bigger videos to get more stuff and everything like that actually played more into how I wanted to make videos originally. So I'm actually really happy with where it is right now. Next question coming in here from Rob Dog Official. Do you think you'll ever rebuild the Stronghold? I feel like that might be a fun challenge for you, and it would be interesting to see what you do with the space for the end portal. Love your videos. We've got a little bit of a flight on this one, but yes, redoing the entire Stronghold is on my list, but not really in redoing the structure of the Stronghold itself, more so in removing the structure. Going past the horse racetrack and over the mountain here, we will start to enter the swamp, which also just so happens to have a mega taiga in the middle of it that I use for chopping all of my spruce logs. Out here, I have a slime farm that you can see the AFK point for right up there, and then this little bit of cobblestone leads down to the Stronghold, and it's right above the end portal, I believe, or maybe the end portal is like right over there or something like that. I do have an absolutely massive project in mind for changing out this entire swamp into something else. But I'll be honest, I'm a little scared to tackle that right now. It's definitely on the 2024 bucket list to get this project moving and started and just getting the ground foundations built out so we can do something with the Stronghold. But yeah, I'm a little scared to see where it's gonna go. Next question coming in here from JVM. You should put a bookshelf somewhere in a build where you put the comment books, like this one that I'm holding that's on page 48 currently. So yeah, we need somewhere to put it soon. But I absolutely love that idea. It's fantastic. This building right here inside of the city is actually meant to be a library. If you can't tell by the very beautiful interior on the library, and wow, there's just so much space in here to build a library. Yeah, it's gonna have a ton of space for the comment of the day books. Yeah, I should probably do this before the next book is finished so it has a place to go. Maybe we'll do an into your next comment. From Maple Tate YouTube. Question: for people like myself whose builds are very inspired by yours and who use small details that we get from your videos, how do you like being credited? So this opens up a little bit of a larger discussion on what the word inspired means to me and what the word inspired means to the Minecraft community. Minecraft YouTube uses the word inspired very loosely and often incorrectly. You see me probably joking about this, well, actually this week over on Twitter when something came up, but if something is truly inspired by somebody else's work, I don't think that you really need to credit it because that's your work. It's okay to look at a piece of art or another build that somebody made and say, wow, I really like that. That's really cool. And I want to build something inspired by it. That's totally fine. That's you creating your own work, doing research and finding what you want to make. Now, if it's inspired in how Minecrafters say something is inspired by, which means rebuilding the build nearly block for block, almost exactly to the same, and be like, yeah, I was inspired by this person, that to me is copying a build. And in that case, I would appreciate credit of saying, hey, I used fWhip's build here. When you're saying, oh, this build was inspired by fWhip, and it's literally a direct copy of what I made, that's not really inspired, you know? You didn't make any leverage in changing things, you just built what I built. But when we're talking about actually taking inspiration for something, like saying, ooh, I really like how fWhip made the shape of this roof, and I think I want to try and do that on a build that I'm using and see if I can get it to work out. Or maybe something like, ooh, I love how the flower pots are underneath every single window sitting on top of the flowering azalea leaves in the city that fWhip's building. That's also another bit of inspiration of just being like, yeah, you know what? I do want to add a lot of foliage into my builds. But often when the Minecraft community, especially Minecraft YouTubers stereotypically, or Twitch streamers stereotypically claim something is quote inspired by another person, all they did was take a screenshot of that build or even take a world download of that build and copy it block for block, and that's just not inspiration. That's liking what the person made and saying, ooh, you know what, I want to have a copy of this in my world. Two totally different things. Both of them are okay, but it comes across about how you're gonna say that you use the build. A lot of Minecraft creators get under this point of using inspiration as a safe outlet to say, yeah, no, I didn't copy the build fWhip made. This is just inspired by fWhip's build, where it is my build. It's not inspired by it. It is my build. But yeah, so the community, I feel like, just loves to throw out this word inspiration and inspired by a lot. And it's always confused me as to why, since it's actually just not the correct use of the word. It's actually wrong. So I think as long as you're truly being inspired by the work that I make and the work that I do, you're totally fine. Also, by the way, if you're not recording videos and you just want to build my thing in your own world and you're just doing it out in your own little place, totally fine. Go for it. Have fun. But if you're using it in a content creation fashion where you're trying to use it to attract more people to come to your channel because you're like, hey, look at this cool build I have in my world or something like that, that's when I do appreciate the credit if it is a direct copy of what I made. That's just a small little gripe I've always had with this lovely part of the internet. But in the end, if you do copy my stuff, just throw my name on it somewhere or tag me in a social media post when you're sharing it. Or like if it's a world where you play on with a bunch of other people, like a little sign attached to it somewhere hidden in a corner, that would be absolutely fantastic. But if you're actually over here like, you know what, I really love the concepts of the build that he has with like the color palette and how those all work together, and the shape and everything is totally different, no need to credit me at all. That is totally fine. I'm not out here being like, ooh, you know what, I used mud brick here and you used mud brick there, obviously that's inspired by me, you better put my name on it. No, I actually just don't really care if you're doing that. If something is fully inspired by, go for it, have fun, do what you want to do, make all of the builds and art that you want to make based off of it. That is amazing. I for sure get inspired by things all the time. I'm not just pulling these ideas out of my brain just on a whim whenever I'm like, ooh, you know what, I need a build to go here, and I'm like, bam, look, a build. No, that's the video that you see. But in reality, I mainly look at concept art for video games, and you don't see me putting the MLA formatted sources at the bottom of my videos of every single thing that I referenced and got ideas of, or the little tidbits that are in my brain that have been around for a long time, like this little lift here. One of my friends that I used to record YouTube videos with way back in the day, like before 1,000 subscribers type of time, so almost 8 years ago now, he loved to build castles. Dukan Red 1, he was a big Minecraft Conquest Reforged builder, and he loved to build castles, and he always had these little lifts going up into the castle because he was like, there's no way people are going to want to carry things all the way up, so this is a quicker way. And for some reason when I was building the tower, I was like, you know what, we have an open wall here, and it just randomly popped in my brain if we could add a lift. Now, was he the first person ever to add a lift to the outside of a build? Probably not, but it's where I got the idea from, and I was like, ooh, you know what, that would be fun to have something like that. Does this look at all like the one he's made? No, not at all. But the idea of having a lift to bring things to the upper levels of the tower, especially when this tower doesn't have a door at the base, you have to go through there, go up across the bridge, and then you're in the tower. Nobody's going to want to do that every single time they're moving supplies all the way around. That's terrible. So I was like, we could have a quick fix access point here, and that also makes this wall a little bit more interesting. That'd be something inspired by somebody versus me being like, you know what, this tower, I love that they made that, I'm gonna put that tower right here. You know, there's slight difference to it, but I'm rambling at this point. Okay, I grabbed another comment here because I thought there was only 50 pages in the book. No, we can keep going. So anyways, Katie, thank you so much for the comment. You get an extra one squeezed in here for this video. I absolutely love that you don't just build, you actually create a story for the builds and use so many blocks most people would never think of to show those little story elements. It's honestly one of my favorite things about your builds. I also love the way you texture and make everything look so natural. I thought the book was full. We have so much more space. But absolutely 100% yes to the story. If I wasn't telling a story in this world just through the builds themselves, I probably would be bored of building inside this world. I don't like just building things for the sake of building. I absolutely need them to connect together in some loose way, or at least just be some reason to exist in here, some loose story like the mountain range over there. I absolutely love, and that was put in place to divide the regions. Think like you're playing an RPG game of sorts, and usually the terrain just drastically changes because RPG games are very limited about the space that they have, and they want things to change pretty quickly. So sometimes you'll go across a mountain pass and then you're just instantly into another zone that looks completely different foliage and everything like that as you cross. So for me, I use the mountain and the birch forest here kind of as that transition point. We can still kind of get around it because, you know, Minecraft worlds are infinite. I'm not going to fully surround things, but it's at least a semi-natural barrier. My goal in this world is to create a story without writing down any words. Just kind of like that picture is worth 1,000 words saying, just in Minecraft, as blocks shown in a video that you could pause and say it's a picture. Weird. Okay. Yeah, but I really love going through the process of doing all that, and I've really enjoyed the recent learning process and a lot of experimentation I've been trying out with new texturing ideas, and I'm glad to see a lot of people have taken notice to it. You can tell by a lot of the older builds I've done in the world here, they're just a little bit simpler. They still look good next to the new ones, but the new ones definitely have a lot more texturing and things going on. Like, this is a very old build here. I really love this build, but I think if I did it today, I probably would do it a lot differently, and that's okay. But I'm really glad people have been noticing the change and that it's been a positive response from almost everybody, so I really do appreciate it. But that, my friends, is gonna do it for today's Comment of the Day episode. There's a horse in the forest. Huh, he lives here now. Okay, who am I to tell him he can't live in the forest? But thank you so very much for watching. If you did enjoy, please be sure to leave a like, as it helps me out a ton and helps a lot more people find these Comment of the Day videos, and we can keep the awesome discussions rolling. Subscribe if you're brand new here to fWhiptwo so you don't miss out on any future uploads. And with that, my friends, I'll catch y'all on the flip side.